Hello, lower school. Today we are going to be making some desserts. The desserts are going to be inspired by the painter Wayne Thiebaud. He's really famous for making food paintings or paintings of food. They're really bright, they're really colorful, and he adds shading to make them look really realistic. And I think for today, we could make a cupcake. He makes tons of other things like ice cream sundaes. He makes even foods that are like hot dogs, burgers. He makes any type of food that you would basically find at a diner. And they're really bright, they're really colorful, and he's almost 100 years old and he still paints. Actually, he is 100 years old because he was born in 1920. So yes, a little over 100 years old. All right, so let's get started, and we're doing a cupcake. So for the bottom of my cupcake, I'm going to make a curvy line, and we start with that line a lot. So it's gonna be like a smile, just like that. And my paper is portrait mode. That means it's straight up and down. And then after that, I'm gonna draw the sides of my cupcake. And then for the top of my cupcake, where the icing is, I'm gonna make a wavy line. And this is where the icing kind of goes over the cake part of the cupcake, just like that. And then we're gonna have a curvy line going up towards the middle of the paper. Same thing on this side. There's two different ways you can add to the top of this cupcake. You can add a candle, you can add a cherry, or you could just have it iced. I think I'm going to do both. I'm gonna do a cherry and have it iced. So I'm gonna make a cherry right here. So see, I didn't finish drawing my entire upper half or upper part of the cupcake. So I'm gonna draw my circle here. And then behind it, I'm gonna have a little curvy kind of like hook where the icing comes up, just like that. But it's up to you what you add to your cupcake. And then I'm gonna add a little circle right here, and that's gonna be for the highlight or where the light is hitting the cupcake. That's also gonna help us later when we do our shading. All right, and for the texture of the bottom of the cupcake, usually cupcakes are baked in a paper like cup or pan liner. I forget what those things are called. But anyway, they have that crinkly foil paper. All right, so after you're done doing that, I'm going to draw the table that it's sitting on just to ground it, to make sure it's not floating around. You either need a horizon line in your pictures or a line to show the side of the table, like in this case. All right, so we have our cupcake. And we're gonna start coloring it, and then I'm gonna show you how to do the shadows and the shading. To do the shading, I'm gonna use two shades, a light pink and a dark pink, and that's gonna help us make the shadows for our cupcake. And when you're doing the shadows for your cupcake, you have to think of where the light is coming from. So I'm gonna have the light coming from this side. If the light is shining from this side, the shadow of our cupcake is gonna be on this side. The shadow is always on the opposite side of where the light is coming from. And that will make more sense in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna, first, before I do my icing, I just wanna color in the cup of our cupcake. And I'm just using silver. And if you're using crayons, you can use the same colors, or you can change it up. All right, so since I wanna have shadow on this side of my cupcake, this part of the cupcake is gonna be darker than this part. So I'm just gonna color more on this side. So I'm gonna do another layer of marker, and it's gonna be darker on this side. And you can see that it's already starting to look 3D. So again, I'm using the same marker, and I'm just going over the same area just to make it darker and to kind of blend it in. And I'll do the same thing with the top half of my cupcake. So I'm gonna start with the lighter. shade of pink. I'm gonna outline it first, and then I'm gonna color it in. You know what, while I'm at it, I'm gonna do the cherry. Okay, and then to make the shadow, same with the bottom part of the cupcake, the foil part, or the paper part of the cupcake. I don't know what that is called. I'm going to draw on this side of the cherry, and I'm just gonna go over the right-hand side over here. You can see it's getting darker, and it's looking like a shadow. We're gonna do the same thing on the icing. So on this side of the cupcake, I'm just gonna go back over it. And on this side, I'm just gonna keep layering my marker, or if you've got a crayon, you're just gonna press a little bit harder on this side of the cupcake. And it's gonna make it look like shadow. You can also take a darker pink and go over it, and it's gonna give it more shadow. Okay. And now we have to make the shadow on the table that the cupcake is casting. And Wayne's High Bo likes to use blues for his shadows. Not black, but blue. So I'm gonna make a line coming out from the bottom corner of my cupcake. It's gonna come out, it's gonna come back around. It's just pretty much a long oval. And then the closer to the cupcake, the darker that shadow is. So I'm just gonna go over this area. And you don't want to press too hard. If you start getting little pieces of paper that is coming up, that just means you're pressing too hard, and just lay off that area a little bit. You don't want to make a hole in your paper. So make sure you're coloring in gently. All right, so we have a cupcake, and I'm going to color the background because Wayne Thiebaud always makes bright, colorful backgrounds. So I'm gonna start doing that. Okay, I finished coloring my cupcake, and you can see I have my shading over here on this side of the cupcake. It makes it look 3D. And then for the background, I just kept it really bright colors. You could just do a table with a kitchen in the background, but I wanted to keep it really simple and just make some stripes of color, some really bright colors. And there you have it. You have a cupcake inspired by Wayne Thiebaud. So happy cupcake making. Have a good day. Thank you for drawing with me.